I know a lot of people expected that when we started this, it would be just techniques and you'd just be jumping on the methods and learning lots of stuff, but that's not all that memory is. Memory is one part of this in here, and that's controlled by thoughts, by emotions, by feelings, sensations, opinions, thoughts, and all of this other stuff. So one of the things that you have to take stock of is your mindset. Right? If you're going to be remembering a lot of information, whether it be in a very short space of time or a long space of time, it's a lot to deal with. So you need a resilient mind and a strong mind that is capable of dealing with all of that. Because not only do you just have the volume, but you then have to move around it to pick out the individual bits and pieces that you need as well. And there are a few groups better to handle the education of doing that than the Stoics. Right? I've ranted about their philosophy, Christ, for years. It doesn't go away because it's pertinent. It might not go away because I'm a fan, to be honest. That is a bias right there. So let's get into 5 of the steps that you can use alongside your memory training to start making sure that you know exactly how to deploy a Stoic level perfect memory. Control what you can, let go of the rest. Right? Memory starts with focus. And in today's world, our focus and attention is a currency that's being taxed at an ever-growing rate. So whereas we might not be able to control all of the outside world with the bells and whistles and the noises and the noise and the vitriol and the bright lights and everything else that's going on, what we can control is our attention. If you've ever found it difficult when you're sitting down to read in order to focus because there are too many things going on, then your own mind is complicit in the distraction. Not that that immediately makes it easier to solve, but know that it's not just reliant on the outside world, right? You can get some sound cancelling headphones. You can practice reading in the noise. You can move somewhere else. There are all of these other options that are available to you that very often don't get considered when your attention is taxed. What normally happens, you put the book down. You stop learning because you feel like you can't settle, you can't focus. We need to learn to take control of our own minds. Just like the body, the mind needs resistance training. It is about leaning into the cognitive effort that is involved in learning something. Why does everything have to be easy or convenient? Where is the learning done of that? Your opinions that you have on anything, they're not 9 times out of 10, it would depend on the opinion and all that kind of stuff, but 9 times out of 10, they're not forged through some kind of easy, connected ideal. You go through arguments, you go through experiences, ups and downs in order to formulate that information that inputs itself into whatever belief that you have. So that is an education. Education isn't easy. Learning isn't easy. Did you pass your driving test the first time? No. Right? Most times, the storage of information is a challenge, and it should be. Because that's requiring a lot of attention, a lot of effort, and as a springboard from this mindset, it's going to breed the resilience needed to perfect it. It's not all going to be easy. I know magicians that have practiced one piece of sleight of hand every day for 20 years. The same for musicians, the same for anyone in any kind of discipline. And learning is a part of that, because you can't move forward in a discipline without the learning that goes alongside of it. Right? Voluntary discomfort trains mental fortitude in the same way that voluntary discomfort at the gym trains physical fortitude. Voluntary discomfort to a certain degree with your education trains the fortitude needed to keep doing it. One of the things that I found was the most enlightening for me, this is only a kind of subjective thing, is when I first started going really hard at memory methods, it felt like these techniques were the ones that were doing it for me, and I could come back to it whenever I needed, go through the right method, follow the right conversions, use the right system, and I'd be able to remember whatever is needed. And that's not the case. Your memory is a discipline. It is a habit. It is something that you lean into outside of medicinal problems or various traumas or concussive tragedies, you're not born with a weak memory. You're just not really taught how to train it. And this isn't a rant against the modern education system, though it could very easily be. You're not properly taught to learn. You're taught what to learn, but not how to keep it in there. And that's the difference, right? That's the difference. So what you can build on this is the Stoic practice of reflection. What did you learn today? Right, you might have learned that there are beardy weirdos online obsessed with memory techniques. You might have learned that. You might have already known that if you followed the channel for a while. But the Stoics journaled to clarify their thoughts and learn from their day. I'm not encouraging you to journal. I don't find a lot of practice in it. But the notion of reflection on the things that you've done that day. Like, have you ever sat down to think about how much you actually know? Every single little piece of information. The clothes that you put on, it wasn't just knowing what you wanted, it was knowing how to dress yourself, knowing how to clean yourself, knowing what to eat, when to eat. This is all information, so you can do a daily memory recap. You can reflect on key lessons that you learned that day. If your key lesson was you wasted 20 minutes doom scrolling on the toilet, we've all done it, but it is a lesson worth learning, and you can only take stock of that after you've properly reflected on it. You can reflect on conversations, facts, videos, films, opinion, debates, stories. You can reflect on it all. How are you ever going to know? And notice I said know, not believe. How are you ever going to know what your memory is capable of if you don't use it?